Hi everyone, I'm thrilled to have you here. I'm Dr. James, and this is Everyday Faith, your weekly dose of inspiration, health, lifestyle, and hope to help you live strong in body, mind, and spirit. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can turn conflicts into connection. Most couples think that if they're having quarrels or conflicts, their relationship is failing. But that's not true. The truth is, conflict is not the enemy, silence is. In fact, a significant chunk of what couples argue about will never go away. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop fighting for control and start fighting for connection so that your next disagreement actually brings you together even closer. So, number one strategy of turning conflicts into connection is to have the right perspective. Now, you see, conflict in itself, inherently, it's not bad. Conflict only become bad when it is not handled properly. And in that case, conflict becomes crisis. So, and the crisis can actually tear your relationship apart. The right perspective that you should have about conflict is that conflict in itself, like I said, it's not bad. As a matter of fact, conflict, if properly handled, can serve as a catalyst for growth, better communication, and even deeper connection between you and your spouse. So stop seeing conflict as a bad thing. Stop avoiding it. When there is a conflict, it's not the time to avoid each other, right? It's not the time to deploy negative coping strategy. So I think the first thing in turning your conflict to connection is to have the right perspective. Another thing is never use foul language and never raise your voice. Now, you see, to be able to handle conflict appropriately, you need a good deal of empathy, self awareness, and clear communication. Now, self awareness is going to make you understand that when there is a quarrel or a conflict between you and your spouse, it's a different time. It's not a happy moment, right? It's a time in which emotions are high. It's a time in which someone might be feeling terrible or frustrated. It's a time in which the atmosphere at that time it's not really conducive. So you need that self-awareness so that you can actually empathize with your partner. At the same time, make your communications at such points, make it clear, right? And of course, don't raise your voice and don't use foul language. That is the list of time that you need those things. But do you know that without self awareness, right, during conflict, because of the natural tendency of human, that is the time that you want to raise your voice. That is the time you want to get all defensive. That is the time you want to bring even previous issues that have been sorted out, unrelated, and you want to dump everything. But it's just self-awareness is going to make you understand that no, this is not the time for this. So let me be focused on what we are here for. So now, strategy number three. Strategy number three in turning your conflict to connection is about listening. Now, you need to be a good listener. Of course, you need to listen actively. That's the summary. Now, what does it mean to listen actively? What it means to listen actively is that you listen with a mindset of understanding your partner's perspective. You know, a lot of times many people listen to reply as the person is talking rather than seeking to understand. You are forming your own reply. And the other thing is because the reason why that is so is because an average person is focused on winning an argument, right? When there is a conflict. So it should not be so. So the aim is not for you to win an argument. As a matter of fact, when you're going through a conflict and you position yourself in such a way that it appears as if you win an argument, if you truly won the argument, just know that your relationship actually has suffered a loss, right? You won, but the relationship has lost, right? So the listening actively means you listen to understand the other perspective, right? Not listening to reply, not listening to respond. Then it also means that you allow the person to communicate. Let your partner be done before you present your point. Don't talk on top of each other. Don't cut the other person, right? Don't make the whole place rowdy. Like I said, your self-awareness should help you do that. Even if it's appearing to you as if let me respond, but you say no, you keep yourself, right? You keep yourself. So you got to be ready to listen actively. And now you see something about active listening. There's this common maxim that says where you stand will determine where you sit, right? Now you need to know that as couple, most times it's just about perspective, right? What breeds conflict at times it's just about perspective. It might not really be that one person is really wrong or the other person is right. It might just be because of where you are standing, right? Maybe because you are the virtue of you being a female or you being a male or you having gone through certain experience or the other person has not. So all these things actually shapes your perspective. So most times it's actually a matter of perspective. And that's why you must seek to understand, right? So another strategy to turn your conflict into connection is to prepare yourself ahead of time, right? Like I said, you need a great deal of self-awareness, and you're going to be having a difficult conversation. So it's help for you to actually prepare yourself. You don't have to respond immediately to every situation as they are unfolding. So it could even mean that you're going to jot down what you want to say so that you'll be able to make your points clear enough without digressing unnecessarily or derailing off points, right? So prepare ahead of time, mentally prepare yourself. Yeah, so another strategy for turning your conflict to connection is to learn to find common ground. Oftentimes, when there is conflict or quarrel between you and your spouse, don't always feel that the other person should be the one to change and come and adopt your perspective. Like I mentioned, most times it's really a matter of perspective. It's about where you're standing, right? So learn to find a common ground. Common ground meaning learn to find a win-win situation, something that works for both of you. And it's okay if you don't even have that solution at the point of having that conversation, right? However, it is better, like I said, self-awareness. So prepare ahead. It is better if you've actually found out solutions that can work for you, but it's also good. You can say, okay, it's okay. Currently, now I don't have what I think can work, but it's okay. We're having this conversation. We're going to have it again and we'll look for what can work. So, when each couple come up with such mindset, that is a solution oriented mindset, right? The conflict is not going to escalate. Instead, the conflict will lead to knowing themselves better, right? It will lead to getting closer and it will also lead to personal growth. Both of you are going to be able to grow together and work on yourself. So that's what we're talking about, turning your content to connection. Yeah, finally, on this is you must know when to walk away. That is a potent strategy for handling conflict. Know when to walk away. If you and your partner, okay, you've done all you're supposed to do, you've thought about it ahead of time, you've made your note and stuff, and at the point of having the conversation, right, you notice that voices are getting raised after a while, conversations are getting unproductive, and you should be able to know that, okay, I respect, be able to tell your partner, you see, I value our relationship more than this argument or more than this conflict. So I think I would just want to take a break. I want us to talk about this later. That is it. So know when to draw the curtain. That is another very powerful strategy for turning your conflicts, right, into connection. With that, you're not going to escalate the conflict, but then it shows maturity, it shows empathy, and it shows mutual understanding. So I do hope that with these few points, you've been able to learn particular strategy that you can use to resolve conflict between you and your partner. Let me know which of the strategy you've been practicing or which of the strategy you would like to start practicing. You can let me know in the comment section, and if there's any particular thing that you want me to elaborate about, also drop it in the comment section. If you've been blessed by this video, like, comment, and share. And subscribe and turn on the notification button so that you can always be informed when we drop new video. Thank you. See you some other times. Bye.